Apparently, there is a question going viral on TikTok right now that asks, would you rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear? And a considerable number of women said they'd rather take their chances with the bear. I'm going with the bear also because, yes, the bear will not shoot me.
Yeah, that's what we are concerned about when it comes to bears, is them shooting you, Whoopie. And have you ever been shot, Whoopie? I mean, you're here in the city, LA, New York, whatever, big city where there's a lot of shootings. And you've managed to dodge a bullet every single time. It's amazing. And you might be thinking, well, hey, Whoopie's never been attacked by a bear either. Right, but she spent time with bears. There's a difference between going, I've never been attacked by a bear, but I've never been in the wild with a bear. As compared to, I go to the city all the time where there are people carrying guns secretly, and I've never been shot. It's a big difference.
He's not going to go.
True.
No, but he's not going to do that.
You,
no. Grizzlies will gnaw on you.
Yeah.
No, grizzlies will kill you. I think it was Sarah Haynes who said grizzly will eat you. But she's like, no, the grizzly will gnaw on you. No, he will eat you. He will kill you. That's how this works. Ridiculous.
But if you've been standing there long enough to see the grizzly coming, you the dummy.
Grizzlies run 40 miles an hour, and they hide.
You're absolutely right, Whoopi, because the stats there's only 1 in 2.1 million chances of being attacked by a bear.
You know?
But there's
Did
100.
they add when you chose the bear in the woods hanging out?
By the way,
Yeah, again, Sarah Hines brings the facts. You're not going to get attacked by a bear, very likely, because you're not hanging out with bears.
men ages 18 to 25 are 167 times more likely to kill someone than a bear.
Oh, I take the man.
That's dark.
I take the man because a man can act like an animal. The bear is a wild animal. I would much rather take my chances with
Yeah,
the
no,
man.
he's not pulling a gun and forcing me to lay down.
I'm with Whoopi on this one because when you're in the woods, you're likely with a bear. I spent all summer in New Hampshire in like Winnipesaukee, and
Why I don't
we
go
see
to the
bears. Okay, if we're talking
You're an idiot. You see bears in the distance doing their bear thing while you're like in a cabin where they can't get to you very easily. That's what it sounds like she's saying to me. I mean, I don't know, but that's what she says. We see bears. It's not like, oh, we feed the bears. Like, I put out bird seed for the birds and they come up and they eat. And hey, sometimes the squirrels get so accustomed to me that they'll eat right out of my hand, sort of thing. I'm not worried about a squirrel. I am worried about a bear.
black bear, I choose bear. If we're talking grizzly, I'd probably. Also, they don't say who the man is. Is this a criminal, a stranger? The ominousness of like there's a
average
man.
man.
I think
so
you
he's probably
can-
not a criminal.
Well, I
He's
think you
probably
can pick a man, right?
If you
I'm
could
going to pick a survivalist. Remember we had that guy
You don't get to
pulled
pick the bear or
together?
the man.
That guy. I'm picking him
knew-
because he survived a shark attack. He's hot. He can go find me a water source. He can get fish. I can make fricassee.
See, while you're
I'm
you're standing there waiting for him to come back,
The bear's
you've
not-
already been gone.
No,
You're
no,
gone
the bear's
already.
not going to get me.
See-
And I'm having mountain sex. I'm having island sex. I'm having forest
I thought you were in the woods.
Well, then I have forest sex and I have.
I don't know why these women are all shocked about her saying that she wants to have sex in all these different wilderness locations. Do women not want to have sex all of a sudden? What?
Isn't it a little creepy?
You know,
if
when I
you're
was
some-
in, oh, sorry. I was
if
gonna
you're
try-
somewhere remote and you know there's another person here and they may pop out at any time, but you don't know and you don't know why they're here. And does he live in the woods? Is that
Much
somebody who
scarier
lives
when
on
I
the
say
land?
there is a bear within.
But there's always a bear when you're hiking.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it. But what I'm saying is you have a choice on the like you never pick a wild animal.
don't mess
This
with
bear
you
will
if you don't
destroy
have
you,
to.
especially if it's a mama bear.
When I was in the Berkshires one
pick up a
time, I was at somebody's house there, and people who live up in the Berkshires have to take bear training.
Okay, so why am I talking about the bear or the man? This is old news. Well, let me show you this video here of how big a grizzly bear is, and these women think that they're going to be safe around a aggressive grizzly bear. Okay, good luck with that. Here's how big a bear's paw is. Well, I didn't want to talk about the bear situation. We've already talked about that. It's already been covered. We all know if you're choosing the bear over a man, the odds are you're going to die. There was I think it was a news report, like something on 60 Minutes or 2020, one of those shows. Years ago now, a guy was attacked by a grizzly bear. And the bear bit his head, bit across his face. Like his face went into the bear's maw and he bit down. The bear bit down on his head. And he survived that bite. It crushed his skull. He survived it. However, it crushed his skull so much that it ruptured both of his eyes and he's now permanently blind because we can't transplant eyes. We don't have that technology yet. So you don't want to be choosing the bear because even if you survive, you're going to be messed up, really badly messed up. There's so many stories out there you can look into of bears mauling people, mauling groups of people, and they survive, but they're seriously injured, possibly maimed. So you don't want to choose the bear. But my point with this is, The View, of course, is anti-male, largely anti-male here. We see that there was one person on the panel there going, you know, I think I'll choose the man. One person said I would choose the right man, you know, if he's like some sexy survivalist guy who can bang my brains out on the mountains and on the beach and all this other stuff. I'm bringing this up because, of course, like I was saying, The View is against men. And recently, the show Adolescence has come out and been all the rave. And there's going to be major spoilers in here if you haven't seen Adolescence. And by the way, I do not recommend you watch Adolescence. It's terrible. Don't watch it. And I just made a whole bunch of people angry, and they're going to go down my comments and tell me I'm an idiot because I said Adolescence is terrible. Let's see what The View has to say about Adolescence. First, I want to point out the title of this. Netflix Adolescence show examines incel culture. It does not. If it were an examination of incel culture, it would have probably been a fun show. It's not a fun show. There's no reflection here. There's no exploration of what's going on in incel culture, why these men are acting this way, the way that they are, the poor, lonely men who can't get a girl. Why are they like that? Why are they the way they are? What is happening to them? What are their struggles? What is their point of view? There's none of that. And here's about as deep as they go into what incel culture is.
80% of women are attracted to 20% of men.
One series on Netflix right now is called Adolescence. It's about a 13-year-old boy accused of killing a female classmate. It's a disturbing look at the impact of toxic masculinity and culture of bullying. Take a look.
I haven't done anything. You're a good dad, a great dad.
He hasn't been found guilty, he's been accused. What have you done? It's a call to action by the manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way.
We've done nothing wrong, have we?
This apparently...
Yeah, based on that trailer, yeah, hey, it might be a show you want to watch. I didn't even see the trailer, and I watched it, unfortunately. Don't make the same mistake that I did. It's really not worth your time.
is striking a chord with a lot of people. What struck you about it?
Well, I think the kind of focus on boys and men, which Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, just he announced that his administration would begin implementing targeted solutions to uplift our men and boys. And the statistics are shocking. Like, women are 15% more likely to get a 4-year college degree. Boys compromise 2/3 of the lowest 10%. The risk of suicide is 4 times greater for our boys and young men. Young men are 3 times more likely to overdose. Men in their 20s and 30s are more likely than female peers to live at home. It goes on and on and on.
And to those of you in the manosphere, like me, this is not news. I was living this when I was a young man. It's ridiculously difficult if you're a man. It's becoming harder every day for us. Nobody's going to stand up. And this politicians he's talking about, it's not going to make a difference. I hope that it does, but I don't think it's going to.
Somehow along the way, we've maybe left boys behind. And as Wes Moore reiterated, it does not mean we don't focus on girls and women and all the things. It's not zero sum. But this show captures the layers. It's not one answer. There's parenting, which this series is brilliant if you haven't seen it.
Actually, it is one answer. It is zero sum. And it's not so much of the zero sum, but we need to have women focus on family first, more than anything else. And in that way, it could be considered zero sum because we're taking women out of the workforce, we're taking women out of politics, putting them in a position where they need to look to men to get ahead in life, because men already have a disadvantage when it comes to dating. We're already at a huge disadvantage. So if you take away the incentives for women to date men, they're not going to date men, or not going to date men seriously. They're not going to marry men.
Seen it, but technology, social media, this maniverse or sphere or whatever it is, and this kind of coded language of how they speak to each other, it was eye-opening. It was gut-wrenching.
It was none of those things. Well, it was gut-wrenching, sort of, in the way that it was filmed, and the notion that this 13-year-old boy could murder his classmate in cold blood like he did. It wasn't really in cold blood, though. He had reasons for doing what he did. It wasn't eye-opening at all, because they didn't really talk about anything important or pertinent to the manosphere. They didn't want to go into the truth either. They don't want to talk about... She did. She brought up like all these different stats, okay? But she just glossed over them, and then they want to move on to the next thing. See, that's why I stopped it so soon after what I just said. It's like, look, they're just going into, oh, Joy Behar's going to say something now. They don't want to acknowledge the uncomfortable truths, which I just acknowledged, is that women have all of the advantages when you give them every opportunity. Women have all the advantages, and then all of a sudden, men have nothing to bring to the table, so women aren't interested in being in long-term relationships with men. Men have no incentive to do anything. Because newsflash for all those of you out there who think that this thing we call civilization just happens. No. Men build it to impress women so they can have sex.
on this planet. There've been plenty of bullying. I mean, they would bully me for wearing Bermuda shorts. I'm serious.
No, but
Yes, and there's been generations of people, throughout the generations, people have gone on killing sprees because they were bullied. Joy. All of a sudden, she thinks that, oh, nobody's ever killed anybody before, the last 20 years for bullying. That's never happened. Idiots.
oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, dear.
No one gets between her and her Bermuda shorts.
Maybe they should.
But we did not have social media in those days when dinosaurs roamed the earth. That is the difference, that these kids are getting bullied 24/7 online. And it's up to the parents to keep them off of that stuff.
Which is easier said
There
than
was a
done.
time when they would say, well, like, remember Carol O'Connor from All in the Family? His son died of an overdose, I remember this, and he publicly said, keep your eye on your kids, watch them, be on top of your children. It applies right now to what we're watching in this show.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but the thing is women can sit here and talk about how men are bad and men are doing this stuff. But if you had a bunch of men sitting around talking about this in mainstream media, of course, those men are vilified. How dare you blame women for anything? Women are perfect little angels. And the fact of the matter is that adolescence is not an examination, is not a response to it. It could be a response to. I mean, that's what the creator of the show is going to say. It's a response to this. No, it's not. It's a culmination of generations of men being mistreated. And then, of course, you're going to get something like this. It's going to be a natural outgrowth. We're going to make shows about the stuff that's going on in our current culture.
Right, that the digital space is kind of the X factor here, because bullying, misogyny, harassment has existed for all time.
Right.
But there were certain social skills you develop in human interaction by being around other kids that helped you overcome those things. And now you have these young boys, they call it digital fentanyl. They're looking at an algorithm that when somebody's mean to them, more and more radicalizing content is getting fed to them to tell them to hate girls, to tell them to hate themselves, and they're turning to...
And again, I go back to, men have been going on rampages for generations because they've been mistreated by society. This is nothing new. It's just becoming more visible now. We're seeing it happen to younger and younger people. What did you expect was going to happen? The more you dismiss boys, the more you dismiss men. It's funny that Sarah Hines is shown on the screen now because she was the one who was saying, yeah, we can't be dismissing men. We can't be dismissing boys. And they're not engaging with the manosphere here, right? They are just saying, hey, look, we need to have a better social interaction. They're not saying, maybe the manosphere has these points to make, and maybe we should listen to what they have to say and see what's going on. Maybe we should actually talk to. Maybe we should bring on some incels onto our show and see what they're going through.
To the darkest corners of the internet. That's why people like Andrew Tate have tens of millions of followers. Parents, I don't put it all on parents, but they need to know what their kids are doing on their phones and on social media.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't follow Andrew Tate. I don't like Andrew Tate. I disagree with too much of what he says. But these people are against me, 100% against me. I mean, you can go into comments of some of my videos and just look at what people are talking about. You're an incel. You hate women. You're racist. You're this or that. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't hate women at all. Women have mistreated me quite a bit, but I don't hate them.
That was the biggest takeaway for me. I watched the series as well, and it's multifactorial because you do have to be a parent and you have to watch and make sure that you're guiding your kids in the right direction. But what was really striking to me was how mean the children were being to each other and how it was being glorified and it was being multiplied by social media. I mean, for all the good that comes from social media, like the Arab Spring that we always talk about, and the interconnectivity that you can have.
Quicker.
Wow, it was really tough to watch.
And let's not put this all on the girls, okay? Because girls always seem to take the brunt of, you're not doing this for me, you're not being... There's a whole lot of stuff going on with our youth, and we need to pay better attention to.
Well, you didn't put any of it on the girls, Whoopi. That's the thing. You put it all on the boys. They're all saying that the boys are the ones that are struggling. And I have a feeling that Whoopi was saying that at the end there in response to what Sarah Hines said about, boys are struggling. There's so much struggle going on for boys. Women are way ahead now. If we want to have this egalitarian society where men and women are equivalent in every way that matters, well, boys are falling behind. I'm going to tell you right now that Adolescence is a boring show. It's 4 episodes long if you haven't seen it. The first 2 episodes are actually interesting. The first episode is this kid getting arrested. What did he do? And then revealing what he did. And, that whole thing is really tense. That whole process is really tense because being arrested is, it's going to change your life, especially if you're 13. The next episode is investigating, trying to find the murder weapon at his school and how the kids are reacting, how the teachers are reacting to this heinous crime, and how his friend who provided the murder weapon to him reacts when confronted by the police. Then the next episode is why did Jamie, the murderer, do it? He talks to a psychologist, something, throughout the entire episode, and it's really boring. Nothing is revealed other than the girl is a bitch bully. So if she's a bitch bully, whose fault is it then? Women don't understand that they hold the fate of men in their hands. And at 13, he doesn't understand that he has a whole life ahead of him to change, to become better with women, to find women. But what is our biological prerogative as human beings? Reproduce. You need a woman. If you're a man, you need a woman to reproduce. And they can destroy your entire existence with just a word, no. And then the next episode is the family learning to cope with what their son has done. Really boring. The last 2 episodes are so boring. And I thought there was going to be some sort of story arc. There's no story arc. None. I thought it was going to be, oh, this kid got arrested. Okay, they're going to do an investigation. Okay, it's going to come out that he didn't do it. Even though they have video evidence, he didn't do it. It was somebody who was dressed like him or something. But no, there was no story arc here. It's just like, look, this event happened. How do you cope with it? What happens when this event happens? When this murder happens? That's it. Let's see some of what the creator of the show has to say.
I mean, it was just brilliantly acted, brilliantly written,
such compelling,
constructed,
terrifying.
Well, aside from the critical acclaim, the show's close-to-home subject matter has left many parents across the country asking themselves just how real is adolescence?
First, I want to pull this clip up here from. This is from a show. I don't know what show this is. It's in England, and they're talking about adolescence. And they had this to say, and I'm like, I don't understand how this hit. They're contradicting themselves. I don't understand. Maybe it's just me. I don't get why they said things this way. Does this hit close to home if you have children? It doesn't hit close to home for me, and I would consider myself in the manosphere. I don't get how this is, such a big phenomenon. This show it's not good. All right, now here's the creator of the show. I think he might be the director. He's not the writer. I know that much.
This male rage, this manosphere, this incel culture, this kind of buffet radicalization where young people will take a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of something else. The key thing is to get people to start talking to boys about what it means to be a man, how to perform masculinity. Because, of course, we've so often allowed that to be that responsibility of talking to them to be given away to social media influencers like Andrew Tate. Yeah. And I think that's why it's caught so much of the public's imagination, because they'll be aware, for example, that Carl Clifford, who was recently convicted of the 3 murders of the Hunt family, was watching.
He was going to say he was watching Andrew Tate. And look, just because you watch something doesn't mean that you're being told to do violence by that thing. Okay, you watch me, I'm going to tell you right now, do not hurt people. I'm not pro-violent acts. And he's talking here about, oh, we don't teach our boys how to be men. Yeah, you're right, we don't. Whose fault is that? Sure, you could blame men for that. And they can take on plenty of that blame. No question. But what about feminism? Saying that toxic masculinity. Men don't even know how to be men anymore. So a man might have a son and he's like, I don't know how to teach this guy how to be a man because I've been told that I'm toxically masculine or I have toxic masculinity, even though I provide for my family and this and that. So men don't even know which way to go. And then there's, of course, men who are absent or men who are not interested in men who are not good men either. There's all sorts of different reasons you can blame men, but a lot of this comes from feminism too. So.
Wrote this with Jack Thorne, said it was inspired by what happened to Ava White, a 12-year-old girl in 2021, and Eliane Adnam in 2023, both girls that were murdered by being stabbed. Now, the key thing, remember, though, is a lot of the reason why this has captured the public's imagination is that you can also think about Nicholas Prosper, who recently murdered his mother, his sister, and his brother in Luton, and even Axel Rudakabana, the Southport killer. What is happening to young men that they are becoming so radicalized that they are using lethal violence?
I already explained this to you, but I wanted to show you this segment here that people don't even know. I explained it to you easily. Women are being disrespectful to men. Women have no reason to be kind to men anymore in the Western world. Women have no reason to settle with a man and try to build something bigger than what they are alone. And men are not innocent in this either. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all women's fault because we know that it isn't. There are men who play games too, but mostly it's women. It's mostly women who do this stuff. And he, of course, is blaming Andrew Tate. Oh, look at Andrew Tate did terrible things, blah, blah, blah. I don't even watch Andrew Tate, like I said. I don't like what he has to say. I don't like his exercise videos at all, from what I've seen. I've only seen a few of his videos, so, I mean, maybe I'm talking out my ass. Maybe he has some really great stuff out there that I'm missing. I don't know. He wants to sit there and be like, you have to be the best that you can be. Just every man can grab himself by the bootstraps and become a millionaire. Not every man can do that. The world's much more complicated than just saying, yeah, I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to be head and shoulders above every other woman or every woman, and then I can get a woman. It's not like that. There are women out there that are more ambitious than men economically. I know that there's women out there that are more ambitious than me. A lot of them. I meet them on a regular basis. It's kind of like the circles that I roll in. I run into women who are owning their own business, who are becoming CEOs, etc., becoming executives. That's just sort of how it is. And that's okay. But if you want to have a healthy society, that has to stop. One thing I do want to say about this is, man, if you're frustrated that women are mistreating you, women are being rude and disrespectful to you, well, you prove them right if you engage in acts of violence, right? If a woman is like, I would never go out with you because you're a creep. Well, if you punch her in the face, what did you just show her? That you are a creep, that she was right to reject you. So that's why you can't do that. At least one reason. I mean, obviously it's immoral, it's illegal, all those other reasons. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. YouTube does unsubscribe people. You can find me over on Rumble and on Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.